Welcome to the Paranormal Highway. You ever thought about it? What does it take to be a ufologist or a cryptologist? What are they? Are they just titles? Do they actually mean something? Well, I got Dr. Wu coming on today, and we're going to discuss this. Is this something you can learn in college? Are there college classes for this kind of stuff? I mean, it's easy to put titles on people, but are these real titles? Because you hear it all the time. He's a real cryptologist. He's a real ufologist. What does that all mean? Does it mean anything? I don't know. Together, maybe with you and I and Dr. Wu, maybe we'll come up with an answer. So get ready. Intro's coming on. Go to the bathroom, get your coffee, get your soda, because we're going to have some deep discussions on what it takes to be a ufologist, cryptologist, whatever you want to be, sexologist. I don't know, but get ready because you're ready. We're all ready to take a ride on the Paranormal Highway.
Today I want to try something a bit different, and this doesn't mean the document analysis videos will go away. You can think of videos like these as something that can spark a casual viewer's interest. This will lead to an even more mainstream acceptance, which is good for the community. This video series will start with the basics of ufology, and just go from there. While the title seems pretty basic, there's still quite a bit of depth to what a UFO actually is. It's not as straightforward as you may initially suspect. The term UFO has only been part of popular culture for the last 35 years or so, but the phenomenon the acronym describes has been witnessed throughout recorded history. Honestly, the term itself isn't ideal. UFO literally refers to anything you see in the sky that you cannot immediately recognize. This leaves a lot of wiggle room and often makes claims that are examined by experts harder to decipher. Let's take a look at 3 quotes from prominent governmental and scientific figureheads to get a specific definition of what a UFO is. First, the United States Air Force quote. A UFO is an aerial phenomenon or object which is unknown or appears out of the ordinary for the observer. Next, we have Carl Sagan's quote. A UFO is a moving aerial or celestial phenomenon detected visually or by radar, but whose nature is not immediately understood. Lastly, we have J. Allen Hynek's quote. A UFO is any reported aerial or surface visual sightings or radar return which remains unexplained by conventional means, even after examination by competent persons. The Air Force and Carl Sagan have the most commonly used definitions covered, but they apply to most sightings in general. I prefer J. Allen Hynek's definition because it is more precise. It covers only those that, after investigation, still remain unidentified and are thought by some to be space.
All right. Now, with that intro, what does that really mean? With all the different definitions they're saying, you don't know what it is. Simple as that. We don't know what it is. We think we know what it is.
Yeah.
After all that, you can put in all the definitions that you want. You don't recognize something in the sky, you just don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's Wonder Dog.
You know what I mean, Bob? Why do we gotta get fancy with super different definitions? You just don't know what it is. It's simple.
It's underdog. It's a flying dog. It's an underdog.
Underdog, flying dog, flying cat.
Superman.
You don't know what it is. That's what a UFO really is.
They're unidentified.
You don't know what it is. It's simple as that.
Unidentified. It could be anything you want it to be. You know my favorite, Eric? Ask me my favorite UFO. Ask me my favorite one.
What is your favorite UFO?
Oh, that's funny that you asked that. My favorite UFO, and people need to look this one up because it's a special one. It's one that's unique to itself. I like the B1RDs. If you guys know what a B1RD is. How many people in the sidebar, I'm not going to give away the answer, we're going to move forward, but somebody in the sidebar write down what a B1RD is. What does it look like? Continue, Eric, now.
Well, if you guys don't recognize the scenery here, that's because I had to give up my little closet space for the new baby in the house. So I moved into where you look right there, my son, that's a 3D printer machine right there. So now I'm with
You're in Ollie's room?
3D printers. Yeah, that yellow thing right there.
You're in Ollie's room.
Well, he built his 3D printer system downstairs.
Oh, okay.
So we're both downstairs in the man cave. So
yeah, because that would smell like feet and ass.
Out. You can see his whole computer system for his 3D printing. So
that's in the living room. That's in the living room. Wow.
Well, actually, it's in the semi kitchen to the outside. You know, the TV stuff is over there.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm next to the sliding door. So now.
Oh, by the patio. Okay, I know where you are. I know where you are.
Patio.
I got you. Yeah, we used to have a cup of coffee in the morning. Okay, so you're at the table. Okay.
And I thought you're perfect for this one because I want to know. We're gonna talk like.
Yeah.
Can you learn some of this stuff in college with some of this stuff? But let me share the screen on. We'll start with the ufologist before we get into the cryptozoologist, whatever. So, ufology is the investigation of identifying flying objects, UFOs, by people who believe that they may be extra species origins, frequently of the alien visitors, while they are instance of government, private, French science. So basically, what regular people when they talk about UFOs, we gotta remember, most people when they say UFOs, they're thinking of outer space, something from outer space, not exactly a drone or not, but
untrained civilian Snoopy team. They're untrained civilian Snoopy team.
So what I want to ask you first is, people make claims that they're ufologists, and to me, titles are just titles.
They're Eric. They are civilian Snoopy teams, and they have untrained Snoopy civilians.
What I hate is I kind of hate titles because it gives the wrong impression to people that they can't do their own research investigation because they're not a ufologist. So the reason this is so important while you're on, because you went to college for archaeologist. And all that. And while you're in college for archaeologists, was there any kind of class training just for the UFOs, the ufologists?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are the classes like?
I sent you
a ufologist.
Well, I sent you the book. Did you get did you put the book up there?
Oh, in an email?
Yeah, I sent you the book in the email.
Let me open up the email.
It's the one of the course books. It's actually one of the course books, and it'll be written by Carl Sagan.
You sent it today, or was it on Friday?
Oh, I sent it like Friday. So look at Friday. My bad, man. Look at Friday. Look, you can't miss my face on the side there. Just look down.
But sometimes.
Yeah.
Was it an attachment or was it just part of the picture?
It was an attachment, so it's a link. It's a link to the book. It's the link to the book.
Oh, the link to the book. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me go here. Let me see.
So people can buy it. People can go. Your audience in the sidebar can go buy the book. It's the best way to do it.
What's the name of the book? Maybe I can find it that way.
Well, it'll be Carl Sagan. Well, it'll just be a hyperlink. It'll be a blue hyperlink. But if you can't find it, no big deal. We don't have to.
Yeah, I'm pulling up your email, and the funny thing is,
it's not there.
There's no links in them.
We must have had a Mandela effect. What the fuck? It's shifted.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, the books. The class, it's a parapsychology class, and it's based off the work of Carl Sagan. Carl Sagan, which is the ultimate debunker, wrote a series of books, and some of the books were used to start the parapsychology classes. And Dr. Bauer at Highline College is he's the one who had the classes, and it was based off of Carl Sagan because he himself studied with Carl Sagan. So it was based off all his research and all his stuff on how to debunk. Now, Carl Sagan was, in fact, part of Project Blue Book. He was on one of the groups of scientists that went out and got all this information. So it's based off data from Project Blue Book.
Is this the book from, it's on Amazon, the UFO Scientific Debate?
No, that's not it at all. Was that in my link?
It is Carl Sagan.
Well, here's one of them. That's one of them. That's one of his books.
Okay.
But it's not the book he had for his class, the one I had for the class. But anyway, it sent it to you, but it's maybe got lost somewhere. Well, still the subject is still there. So yeah, I took the class, and the idea in the class is to learn about everything fake. 100% fake. Everything fake. Now, I put it to a lot of people in the sidebar. when you look at all these, and I was a Snoopy also in the Navy, so that's the real fucking UFO hunters for the military, for the Navy. One of the descriptions of a UFO is a flying disc with a single antenna on top, and those were spotted everywhere. And people describe seeing a disc with the antenna. There's a lot of footage with the flying discs with the single antenna on top, and I go, well, isn't a single antenna analog? Analog. So the 1950s, they had analog, right? They had a type of, it's moving into the direction of analog, all that stuff. How is it that an advanced culture has an antenna? Number one fucking flag. How is certain things on these certain makes of what people have in their spotting, why does it look like technology you would have at the period of time that it existed? For example, you have a radio with an antenna that picks up certain atmospherics, whatever. You listen to the music, man. You're rocking the Beatles, whatever your thing is. Has an antenna. So UFOs have antennas, and there's certain features within the UFOs that are always subject to the contemporary science that they have at the time that they're seeing it. Other words, Eric, if I saw a UFO in the 90s, would it in fact have a CD track? You know what I'm saying? So you always got to be era specific when it comes down to describing UFOs and unidentified objects, because they certainly look like the pulp fiction of the time. One flag. That's flag, 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 flag. You always got to look at the people that are actually looking at it and describing it and what their technology. Again, in archaeology, the artifact itself is not important. Like, for example, when Indiana Jones went into the cave and he found the idol, and the first Indiana Jones, he sees the idol. Yeah, the idol isn't the important part. It's the context to get to the idol. That's all the stuff. Now, they're spitting out arrows at him. Now, how do they build up enough air pressure within these tubes to have that? That's the technology he wants. An archaeologist does not. It's not the artifact. It's the context they find it in. So when you're digging a hole and you have a stratigraphy, you find an object, everyone stops what they're doing, you're taking pictures of it, you're doing the stratigraphy of what level down it is. It's all the context is the most important part of any archaeological find or anything that you're observing. Not just the UFO, but the context it's in and who's the one spotting it. You can always spot flags continuously with everybody's stuff.
Actually, that makes sense because like using that movie Raiders of the Lost Ark as an example, when you walk down the cave, you put your hand in front of a light, the thing comes out like spikes comes out.
Yes,
it kills you. And you think about how can you create something that a light sees your hand and pop it out. I can see where that's more intriguing.
It is,
because also what's intriguing is the time that they were in when they were building this stuff. It's not like nowadays we have the technology to figure out how to make the air pressure to do that. They're doing this in a time where there is no computers or graphics or anything.
Yeah,
that is
so
interesting.
Yeah, so wherever the light was hitting, it was heat sensitive, which means whatever lithic, whatever rock or whatever was used to keep the temperature on it. Once he's blocked the laser, the photons or whatever, it's not warm anymore. It's cooling it down. Whatever the object that was behind it, that he's the rock or the substrate or whatever the surface area was more important than actually the idol, because that is technology that is amazing and it shows ingenuity like a motherfucker. Going inside with all the traps themselves is what's important. All the traps, all the way down, the sensitive. How did he step in certain spots? And this sinks and this doesn't. And when it does sink, it pushes some sort of vacuum air pressure within the walls, and they somehow trapped air. Or maybe, as you and I talk about how they built the pyramids, it could have been also hydro pressure. There could be stored water pressure. So when he puts his foot on there, it triggers something else, which releases this highly pressurized hydro water and shoots the arrows out. That's the real artifact. That's archaeology.
It does make sense now, because when
Yeah.
you look at archaeology digs,
Yeah.
when they have a scope, it's a big square that they cut out.
Yeah.
And it's like even they find the item, they're looking everything on the side of it.
Yeah. You have to when you're doing a pit, you do your squares. You you got to measure it out. You also have a plumb. You're plumbing it. It's a metal, and you lower it down, and you run strings across so you can have an actual measurement, like you're plumbing something. You're dropping it down, and you're doing an accurate measurement on how far down it is within the square pit that you've dug. The sides, you got to scrape with your trowel, make sure it's smooth, remove all the excess material, and you're going to see stratigraphy. Each line will have a different time period. So that's the surface of that time period of whatever elements hit the ground, whatever. That's important all the way down. Even pollen, what kind of trees they had at the time. If there was a wipeout of all the vegetation, there's a new vegetation growing. You're going to have that pollen on the lower end, and then you have this pollen on the higher end. So the stratigraphy is more important than the artifact that leads to the object that you found. And it also gives you a time scale. That's the information you want. That's archaeology. It's not the artifact. It's the context for the artifact. You get the big picture, the holistic picture of everything you're looking for. So when we talk about ufology and these ufologists, what is the context? Like, I always ask them, what's the context? What do you mean context? Did you go to college? Did you take anything on how to do data gathering, research? They've attempted it. They've got a group called MUFON, the MUFON whatever group. So they now people say MUFON, they're the super investigate. No, they're not. MUFON gathers data.
Their database, yes.
Yeah, so that's all they do.
That's why most
right?
people don't even get a response back.
Yeah, that's right. They're database only. And so people always ask me, how do you know? I said, did you not go and do the research at MUFON? Like, they provide all the data there. They've got it since the freaking 50s, man. They've got boxes and boxes of data. They've got these volunteers that go in there, and now they're punching them into computers, and they're trying to store all this information. It's the context data. You need that. People say, well, how do you know about abductees so much? You look at the data. The people that have got all the data, they have a one central storage place. Actually, Smithsonian is the real. The Smithsonian is the real informational place. MUFON is a bunch of freaking amateurs sitting around getting a free fucking paycheck for a nonprofit. It's just anything a nonprofit. It's just a government funded nonprofit. MUFON. It's all that is. It's just another CIA fucking scam. But the Smithsonian Institute, they're the ones who store educate. They're the ones who have all the context and all the information they have in their storage banks, not these other clowns. These clowns are all part of that freaking whatever, What is your expertise? What have you done? What institution do you work for? I work for a nonprofit at MUFON. Oh, okay, yeah, you're sponsored by no, your data, but they still have it. It doesn't matter who, they still have lots of data for the regular amateur to go in there and pick out all their stuff. First, how much information have you read? I always like to ask. How much do you know? Who do you know on this? What is your educational background? Are you a scientist? Are you an investigator? Or did you go to the Fry University as a freaking fry cook? I mean, what is your real... what is that guy, the guy, Lizanzo, whatever, the guy that looks like he owns a Turkish bathhouse? Where's the...
Jimmy Corbell?
Is that Corbell, the guy with the skinny jeans? Clearly...
The Hollywood producer who failed before he started figuring out that you can make money in the UFO.
Absolutely making money for the U, and he's probably working for some central intelligence.
People don't know. I keep telling to remind people that everybody who comes out, like David Rush, signs a contract with Jimmy Corbell, and he makes 33% of what they get. So it is a money business. So let's do this as an experiment with you and everybody in the chat. I'm going to share the screen here. I'm going to share the screen right here. This just came out just like 49 minutes ago from Only Real UFOs. He's a friend of the channel. He says I can always show his stuff, so there's no copyrights I have to worry about. So this is the footage that he gets, and he just puts it out there. So Bob, I don't even know what's in this because this just came out. I want to see how would you think, like what you learn in archaeology and stuff. How would you try to study this to determine, whatever direction this video takes you to? Because I don't even know yet. So what it says here, witness description: over 30 minutes view multiple orbs over ocean. Solano Beach, California, changing colors and morphing into and out of each other. So, let's see what this looks like. And, when you watch it, try to say, how would you study this? Like, what would you do? And people in the chat, what will you do to study when somebody comes out with the new video?
That's shit.
So basically, he's filming, and then there's a bunch of fire-looking things in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
So he's showing how far he is, and he's showing a zoom in. So, like, when you see something like that, I mean, what is there something that goes through your mind first? Like,
I'll give people a story and let them figure it out for themselves. Okay, you guys see this, right? Let me change the situation here.
I'm gonna pause it right here.
Yeah,
and then go for it.
So let me find somebody in there to play with. Somebody in there. We'll just say
Ron.
I'll use Ron. Okay, so Ron needs to he needs to charge his car battery. He needs to charge his car batteries. Car battery's dead. So Ron opens the hood of the car. Okay, this is on the same subject. Ron opens the hood of his car. Now he's got his charging cables. Okay, so what do you normally... A normal person makes the biggest mistake in the world when it comes to charging their freaking batteries. So you put one... I'm not going to tell you which is which. You put one cable on one terminal, and you put one cable on the other terminal. Now, that's not always good, because sometimes you have a large explosion. You'll have a big boom. So it's smarter to put one cable on one of the little nipples, and then you put it on something else as a ground on the side somewhere else, not next to.
Would location matter at all before you do that? By any
chance? Well, good question. So we're going to get to it. So the reason why you don't put both cables on the terminals on the batteries, because the battery releases a gas. It releases a gas, and when your hood is down, and although your battery's pretty much dead, it's still releasing a flammable gas. So when you pop the hood up, it's trapped all that gas originally was in there. You just go about your normal you put them both on at the same time without even letting it air out, and you get a big whoosh, you get a plasma explosion from the gas. You get the explosion. So it's always smart to put the other terminal over here, because there is, in fact, these things called plasma balls. They come from pockets of gas. Gas rises. And if you have a spark, no matter what the spark is, you're going to have a fireball. You can have a fireball in the hood of your car. You pop the hood up, you do it wrong, and you have a big round fireball in your car, in the hood of your car. It's fast, it flashes quick, but it's a burning gas that can be in anywhere. Now, everyone's like, oh man, he's one of those guys that talks about floating plasma balls of gas burning. That's true. That is true. Swamps do produce methane. They produce methane. And there are pockets of methane that do go up, and because nature is lazy, it likes to keep things in a circle, the old golden ratio. Gas will go up, it'll linger, but for the most part, those molecules like to form a circle because they're lazy. That's what nature is. You can have a lit plasma ball. Now, have they recreated plasma balls in a lab? 100% yes. They have created plasma balls in a lab situation where you had pockets of gas, and they were, guess what, Eric? They were floating balls of light that floated around.
One person's disagreeing with me, and disagreeing with people is fine. That's how you,
Yeah,
you get further in discussion. He wrote, it's either drones or aliens or alien drones, not some swamp gas battery fart plasma orb.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You can't. It has been done in a lab. Plasma balls have been recreated in the air in a lab. So once that's done, then it can be done in nature, because nature does it too. Now, am I saying this is a plasma ball? I'm saying it's plausible. We don't know if that's sitting above a sewer place. That could be above a sewer place.
Ron is agreeing with you. He wrote exactly, Dr. Wood, that nature does some weird shit.
It does. Now, depending on how much moisture's in the air, because moisture are particles. Particles like to transfer electricity around to each other because they're right next to each other. Okay? If it's above a sewage plant and there was some sort of spark, or it just ignited, it could ignite itself in the air. It just takes a little bit of heat. We don't know if that's above a sewage plant or not. We don't know, because when you have a it could be a gas refinery. When you have a gas...
Remember, one person in the chat wrote location. That's important.
Location, 100%, you are correct. We don't know if there's a gas refinery over there. The gas refineries, they burn excess gas. They burn all the excess stuff to keep it clean in the environment. In fact, that's why they try to, they're screwing up our environment. They have fire. You understand? There are many different things that this could be before you can make the decision that it is a unidentified flying physical object thingy, like an object, and not release pockets of gas.
Because I would think that flares would have went down already.
You would be right. Flares will go up and flares come down. So take it off the table. Okay, if that's not...
What about Chinese lanterns?
Chinese lanterns float, and they're fireballs. I've released hundreds of them to see it and point it out. Look, there's a ball in the sky.
But if there's no air, will it kind of stay in one area like that for a long time?
If there's no air, there's no upper currents. There's no currents, and it'll just suspend it. It'll just stay slowly in a spot. It might move to whatever. Maybe it'll be a breeze. Maybe the temperature's changing depending on what time of evening is, when the hot meets the cold, and you start having a slight wind up there. There's 1,000 variants for fireballs. Fireballs, to me, are the worst evidence you could ever have for a UFO.
Then people, this video just came out. I just picked this one to experiment with. Nobody's seen this. So no, I can see that. That's how you start your investigation. Like, you
have to look at location.
See if there's passes there, cars.
See, the goal is to prove they're real. You have to go through the scrutiny of science and retest to prove it does exist. That's the problem. Nobody's putting in the extra effort and hard work to debunk first. You have to look at location.
And now
could be lanterns.
Now, if you look here, I mean, there is. I know, like in that witnessing, it talks about like changing color, but maybe Ron from Cosmic Neighbors can answer this question from the chat. When you have the camera up, and since it's that far out, couldn't the color kind of changing is because of the camera, the way it's taking in the scenery, not necessarily that object is making that change of a color? I would like to hear. Ron knows his camera. It's like, that's a distance. I took a camera. On 3 airplanes because I live, and he wrote absolutely. And I live at the airport. Planes fly over my house to the airport. So when I took a camera, and when I showed it, it looked like 3 balls of light. Yeah. It didn't look like no plane. It looked like 3 orbs. Yeah. But those 3 orbs were technically airplanes. Now, of course, that was moving. That was not. But if I only took 2 minutes, it takes a while for the airplanes that you see to actually get over there. So most people might say, well, Eric, that was an airplane, they would have got there. But the distance that your camera takes it and the distance you zoom in, it looks like it's not getting closer, but it really is.
Well, here's the other thing we're going to do now. I'll use Ron. In fact, all of you guys, everyone can answer this. Here's something else I want you to look at when it comes to coming up with the answer. Objects that are lights like that in the sky are subject to. Okay, anyway, they're color. The colors. Okay, tell me about colors. What is the colors telling you when you see a specific color? What is the color? To give you a hint, you have a white sun and you have a red sun. You have a blue sun. You have all these different color suns. What is the color telling you about the sun? It's the same thing with objects in the sky. The colors give you fat data right there off the spot, right there. You could look at the color and you would have an answer for the first thing you would write down. Okay, I'm looking at it. Let's see, Eric, you had it up there. It looks like it was reddish orange ball. What is the color telling me about that object?
Red, hot, blue, cold.
There we go. Somebody's already kicking it in, JoJo.
Red,
Yes.
hot, blue, cold.
The color tells you the temperature of what you're looking at. The color tells you the temperature of what you're looking at. So, Eric and JoJo in the sidebar, you're looking at a red ball, right? You saw the red ball. Can you go on to Google, look up what is the temperature for that particular color? There's a certain color graph you could find. Write down the temperature of that color of what you're looking at. So I'm teaching you guys how to fish. I'm teaching you how to debunk. This is what we do here. Give me number one, what is the shape? Number two, what is the context? Well, number one, the context. Where is it at? With location. Number two, what is the color of what you're looking at? Give me the chemical signature of what you're looking at. What is the temperature? Write down the temperature number. Okay, look at things that can have that temperature. Look up at the hole that has appeared in the sun. Yeah, isn't it? No, that's okay. Good. Very good. Ron, let's go back to our resident freaking cosmologist. Ron, what does that color say about that spot on the sun? What is that? Why is it different than the other parts of the sun? What is it saying based off what you're looking at using colors? Using the colors. Why is that color different from the other parts of the sun? What does it say about that spot?
What as Danny wrote, the color doesn't really matter if it's color lights, just saying.
You're cute. Anyway, so back to the put your big pants on. Anyway, back to the color.
60 times the size of Earth.
Yeah, 60 Earths, whatever. That's what they say. Doesn't matter. What is the color? Forget, that's media shit. That's what the media told you. That's what the media is feeding in your heads. That's what you're repeating back to me. It doesn't matter. I don't give a shit about the fucking side. Anyway, good answers. No wrong answers. What is the color saying? We're going strict. It's easy. What is the color telling you? What is that? Yeah. Okay, I'll read it. Here we go. Color temperature. Temperature red. Just visible 5.25977 dull. Good. Red 6991. Good. Very good. Dull cherry. Good. You're doing good. You're looking up the colors. Good. And that's temperature.
The black in the sun is the black spots are absent of heat.
Correct. Very good. You guys are doing it. You're doing it. So, fuck the media. Use your fucking natural senses and science. So what you're saying is there's a color difference. That means it's cooler there. Why is it cooler there? There's the question. Why is it cooler there? And why is it so large? Now, they're going to throw things out. It could be 60 Earths. I don't care about that. I want to know why the color is that color. And they use certain specific infrareds to determine, to see the spots. You can't see with the naked eye. There's a color filter they use to see that spot, which is telling you that it's cooler. Of course, it looks like the eye of Sauron. Isn't that kind of ironic? It looks like the eye of Sauron from freaking Lord of the Rings. It's like, hey, that's the eye of Sauron. It's the goddamn eye. It looks just like the eye of Sauron. So anyway, the eye of Sauron on the sun seems to be a cooler temperature. Well, there's the question you need to ask. Why is it cool there and not anywhere else? Forget everything else. Go to the science.
Right before we jump into the zoologist, the cryptids,
Yeah.
for cryptids. So before we go on that, we get into that part. If somebody you're watching calls himself a ufologist, what are just tell me 3 main things you want to at least hear from the guy to say, okay, I might listen to this guy a little bit more.
Oh, well, number one, I didn't graduate high school, as you know. I left at 15 years old. I took an equivalency test, which is below a general education. That means I'm lower than a normal fucking high school diploma. Then I went to college, the old-fashioned way, the hard way, and it's hard without the computers, with the piece of paper, and you got to write things out, the I.M. pentameter. You got to use periods and punctuations, and everything has to be perfect. So I had to go to college. And then after I had some college in me, then I went to the military. Then I studied some other stuff, and then I went back into college, where it was hard, like boot camp. Nothing's easy. You complete college. You've got midterms. You've got finals. You've got all these hard tests, and it's hard. And you stay up all night, freaking academic, and it's like boot camp. It's hard, and gets harder. The more you move up in college, the harder it gets. Once you get to your regular degree, then it actually gets a little easier. Your master's is fucking easy. So once you go into your field, whatever, discipline, work, classes, volcanology, mass wasting, which is how you understand how things are being, like the plate tectonics and natural disasters. All these different parapsychology, psychology, lots of psychology. Artifact distribution, artifact preservations, geology. I mean, all these different. Then you've got to take statistics. Then you got to take you got to learn graphs, and you got to learn all this shit. And every bit of it is harder and harder, and it's a fucking pain in the ass to present data. It's difficult, and I had to do it. So when I ask somebody, I don't want to sound like a pretentious fucking asshole, a chauvinist, whatever's, but I say, how much education do you have? I've got my DeVry University online in Frycook. I'm like, okay, so you don't do graphs, so you can't present data. So are you gonna cook me French fries? What is your education and background? Well, I'm an investigator. I worked for the I worked for the San Francisco whatever fire department, whatever. I said, okay, you have some expertise in fire. That's good. Fire science. That's a plus. How much more? How much can you present data? Do you know how to present it in graphs and all this other? No, but I could tell. Okay, well then, you'll be a great field investigator, but you're going to need somebody else that's went to college a little bit longer.
There's nothing wrong with being a field investigator. You film it, you get it, and you bring it to somebody.
Bring it back.
Data and graphs.
Does the data and graphs the work? Yeah. So a guy working for the fire department would be a great candidate for a field investigator when it comes down to looking up in the sky, and a fire investigator could see the circles because he's taken all those classes about different class fires, all that wonderful stuff. He's a candidate for a field investigator based off what he knows. Ron's a good investigator in the fact that he knows engineering and computers. So he's into computers, so he could see that something has been CGI'd, placed into the spot. This is not right. This doesn't look, the color, you could see where the edges are, where they had placed it into the, very good information. Debunk.
He also has a good skill of knowing if a data's been
tampered with and
all that.
Yeah.
Hero, I know nothing.
So when it comes to specific skills that you learn in specific jobs, they can apply in the field for field investigations when it comes to something you don't have any answers for that you're trying to come up with answers with. So Ron will be working with the fire guy, the fire department investigator guy. Together they can place together, because Ron can look at the fireball and say, nah, this was artificially put there. And the fire investigator, looking at the color and the context of where it was, location, could say, well, I could tell you that it was filmed above a sewage plant. Boom. Okay, so now we're coming up with an idea of what we're looking at without screaming little green men first. The biggest problem with ufologists is they scream little green men first, and then they don't do any back data. Nothing.
No.
So now you've got a lot of people misled thinking there's an alien invasion. Oh, great.
You
The
know what
sewage
makes sense?
factory.
You know what makes sense? It all makes sense because remember when not Ghost Adventures, when
Yeah.
Ghost Hunters first came out, the two guys apparently worked for a plumbing company.
Plumbers.
I can't tell you if that's true or not. If
No, but that's good.
And you said that, you know, that's good because
It's good.
plumbers know the sounds of pipes. They know
Yep.
the sounds of houses, what they make. So when they
Yep.
go on a paranormal investigation,
Yep.
it helps them to know that that sound you're hearing could be this, could be that, because
Yep.
that's part of their job that they're trained at to
Yep.
listen to sounds, look at cameras in a tight spot.
Yeah. Also, electricians.
It makes sense on a bigger
Yeah. They also know where gas pockets would come up from sewage.
gas pockets.
Gas pockets in a thick room that it's got moisture in the air, it's got bad whatever condensation, could have plasma balls. Also, little particles that are all in the air. It's trapped within the humidity of the room. You can have those little shining look, it's an orb. No, it's not an orb, man. Anyway. Also, electricians that walk into a house and everyone says, as another example, I don't feel good, man. I feel like there's an evil spirit staring at me all day. So a good investigator walks in with what we'd call an EMF detector, electromagnetic. Anyway, it checks all the free radical fucking electromagnetic stuff in the air, okay? So a good investigator walks in there with an EMF detector and walks around the house, and he goes up to a big old box here, and it's got all your stuff in there, and he opens it up and says, "Good God," runs his EMF detector, and it's going off the charts, dude. You're getting a lot of electrical freaking frequency stuff in your house. Your house is leaking EMF. You have paranoia based off bad electrical work.
Isn't it weird that a lot of these are at older houses that
With
aren't
bad electrical,
bonded
yeah.
properly? I mean,
Yeah.
I'll tell you guys right now, there's some parts of my house that still only have the two plugs, not the ground, because it's need to get rewired. So I know
Yeah.
there's some leakage of electricity, like can do things. I mean, it's just common
That's
sense.
what an electrician does. He walks around your house and he checks for EMF, and he says, "You've got problems here in this wall. You've got problems, and it's spiking." Okay, so these guys have their little handhelds for the ghosts. Oh God, I got a hit. And then as soon as some guy puts his hand on the wall, he's electrically connected himself to he's an antenna for whatever is leaking out of behind his wall. So now that he's got his hand on his wall and he's like looking at his whatever, he is causing it to go like this from his own hands. Like static electricity can cause it. You understand? There's 1,000 things that
yeah.
could be. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I can tell people right now, myself being a cable guy for over 16, 20 years, I have gone to almost every kind of house you could imagine.
Yeah.
Every house have different sounds, different creaks, different this, depending on how they're built. Houses are building green, you know. I mean, I could walk into a house and almost tell you exactly what I'm hearing because I've heard it before.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, the creaks.
A lot of people hear noises in the walls. A lot of people don't want to believe it. You probably got rats in the house.
Yeah, rats in the house. The wood swells. It depends on the temperature outside to the temperature inside of the house. Wood will swell, get bigger and smaller.
I remember when you had a house up here in Seattle area.
Yeah.
Your cable was bad. It was blurry. And I went over there and I went into your crawl space. Your cable wires was all chewed up. It was all chewed up. So
yeah.
That's where all the ghosting came from. And the reason it was chewed up, when rats are pregnant, they need iron. And they chew through the middle of the cable wire because there's foil. There's iron there.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is why people are like, there's no rats in my house. If you got cable wires, you got all this. When rats get pregnant, they look for iron. So scratching cells might be creatures. But here, I'm going to share the screen.
Yeah.
For like cryptologists, because now cryptozoology is a pseudo-science and subculture that searches and studies the unknown, legendary or extinct animals whose present existence is dispute or unnatural, whatever.
Well, pseudoscience,
Particularly
yeah.
those in folklores such as Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, the Yeti, and Chupacabra, the Jersey Devil. So now when you go into this, now this is different, Bob, because now we're not studying what's in the sky. We're not looking at shapes that we don't recognize.
Yeah.
We're investigating
biology.
So in your college archaeology, is there any classes that try to help you guys study maybe a Bigfoot that can exist, or any kind of cryptozoology creature out there?
Well, anthropology, and we'd call it a hominid. And first, you look at the context of the hominid, and then you got to look at the paleo history of where there was a land bridge, and you had Gigantopithecus, which was, and they have the bones for, a very large ape that did in fact cross, predictable to what we call the United States now. There was a Gigantopithecus, and over hundreds of thousands of years, you're going to have this thing called natural selection, where they're going to eventually breed and change and breed and change. One will be born with, because every living thing has this thing called a mutation cell. A mutation cell is what every living thing has, and it can change. So sometimes you get a form of retardation, which that retard will die in the environment. However, there would be a significant change in whatever adaptation that whatever was born with that might be significant for the group that it's in, and it might be almost favored. For example, I'm just saying this is a family-friendly show, but it's a joke. But you've got three hominids. Hominids is an early species of primate, which we would whatever. Three of them. They were all born the same day. One of them has a penis much longer than the other ones. So as the three grow up, the females hominids might, in fact, choose the larger phallic of the group. So when they have children, and he's bigger and stronger, they're going to have bigger and stronger children. So those other two, well, they're just going to die in nature. The one they select, the females, will all have that same adaptation. So adaptations happen in nature all the time. I mean, does it? Yes, it does. Adaptations happen all the time in nature. So you have a Gigantopithecus with less food in the environment. It becomes smaller. Okay, so not bigger, but smaller, depending on the diet and the substrate or the nature wherever they live, and the adaptations they have that come with it that pertain to the environment they live in. For example, polar bears aren't white.
Now, are these theories or facts?
These are facts. These are facts. This is how things work. If you went to biology class, you would know that if you had, and I had, you have the micro, and you're looking at adaptations in biology. If you're looking through genetics, if you're looking through the experimentation of genetics, you could see, how do we think we got corn? Corn is grass. Corn is not something that grew in nature naturally. Corn is something that humans made. Corn
makes sense, because they say if you have family members who have certain kind of cancer and stuff, it's more likely you need to get yourself checked.
Yeah.
Because genetically you might have it too.
You carry the gene for it. It's genes. We made we made corn. Maize was made by humans. Potatoes were adapted by humans.
Polar bears have black skin.
Polar bears are black. Grizzly bears are black. Bears' hair change colors depending on their environment. Bears change colors depending on their environment. It's already in their DNA programming. It's an adaptation cell they have. Everything has it. So they change according to their environment and the rigors of their environment and the stressors of the environment. Stressors. There are people in countries that can dive at the deepest depths and get whatever they want from the bottom of the ocean because they have a pancreas that's different. They've developed people in America that are in the Olympics. They're in the Olympics. They take their Olympic runners and take them up to South America and have them run up at the highest mountains where there's less oxygen, and keep them there training with less oxygen so they can have an adaptation. The stressors of an adaptation, their body will start to learn and change to absorb more oxygen, although there's less. So when they go back to compete, their bodies are completely changed a little bit.
That is so true. Because people in the chat, I was a cross-country runner. Technically, I was actually the athlete of the year.
Eric was,
1992 for cross-country running.
Yeah.
One of the worst places we always hated when we had to do a track run is when we had to go in the Sierra Mountains or the Yosemite Mountains because it was harder to get breath.
Yeah.
You know, when you run, it's so different than the environment that you're in. I mean, you didn't want to run the Sierra Mountains because you're really like when you finish that finish line, you die more over there than you do in Fresno because the mountains, the air is so thinner, it felt like you're gasping.
Well, who built? Okay, here we go. Here's another question for you guys. It's another answer. Who built the skyscrapers in New York? Who built them? Danny Stateston? Yeah, Donald Trump. Danny Stateston. Who built the skyscrapers in New York? You're so smart. Who built them? Somebody from the East Coast, right in there then. Who built the skyscrapers? What people built the skyscrapers? What people built the sky? The majority say there's a mix.
Hunter Biden, because he didn't pay his taxes.
There's a mixed bag, but the majority of employees were employed. They were a specific.
To give you an answer, men.
Okay, so you don't know. No, you're not wrong, but again, you don't know. You're a good man, but you don't know. You don't know. Okay, so the Irish. No, not the Irish. Good, but they worked there too, but they didn't work up at the high areas. They worked down at the low areas. You're right. I said the majority of people who built the skyscrapers.
I Danny already said Donald Trump.
The people that went up on the girders and hung out and ate food on the girders with their feet hanging.
No idea. I'm Canadian.
Okay, here we go. Here's the answer, because people don't know. The Mohawk Indians. The Mohawk Indians.
Mike Johnson wrote Native Americans.
Native Americans, correct. They were the Mohawk Indians because the Mohawk Indians have an adaptation in their ears. You have this liquid inside of your ears. There's a specific liquid inside of your ears that it gives you your equilibrium. You know, it keeps you from being balanced or whatever. And people of Caucasoid genetics they have it, but they don't have it like they have it. The Mohawk Indians have an adaptation within their ears, which allow them to go up the highest of the skyscrapers, and literally they can tap dance on a girder at the edge and not have no fear. They don't fear the heights. They have no fear heights. They could not have built those buildings without the specific adaptation from the Mohawk indigenous peoples of that area. Fact. They have an adaptation that allowed them to go up on the girders and higher. I mean, I'm afraid of heights. I've been in airplanes, been flying around. I'll be honest with you, I'm still afraid of heights, but I still do it. I have to challenge myself. I have to force myself to do it. I still get a little bit of a wiggle woggle in my gut, but I could do it. But they don't have any. They have the adaptation for it. They don't have that fear of heights. They built the skyscrapers. That is a genetic adaptation that nature has given them based off their environment and environmental stressors. So it worked for them. It worked for them. It's the same thing with the Bigfoots and all the other cryptids out there. It goes back to the subject of what their adaptation is for their environment. So, if that all makes sense when it comes down to biology.
Now we're getting closer to the end time. So you got a ufologist and you got a cryptozoologist, whatever, cryptid person.
Yeah.
So again, like for you, put these together or whatever, like if somebody is going to give themselves a title, and I got a notepad here, and I want the people in the chat,
to
be involved in this. So I put 1 through 5. So let's just like start with like the first one to put in here. We'll make our own list here. What for you, Dr. Wu, and people in the chat? What is your number one thing? The number one you hope that a ufologist and a cryptozoologist has?
Education. It's just
that's
education.
fine. That's fair. That's fair.
What is your interdisciplinary? Do you know about the? What do you know? What classes have you taken? What do you know about volcanoes? What do you know about stressors and that could cause this sort of adaptation for this animal that you would call a
breaking
cryptid?
it down, you're not necessarily saying you have to have masters, bachelors, and all that. What kind of education you have?
What kind of education you have?
That you're doing.
Interdisciplinary. Again, the fire investigator is really good. It would be great in the field for UFO, like for studying UFOs and looking for to debunk.
So
yeah.
Okay. So we got the education part. Then what would be the second thing you think you would look for if they have the education part?
Their ability to be a skeptic. That's
good.
Be a skeptic.
You
have to walk in with a clean slate and not lean any direction at all. You have to go. You can't go in there being some freaking. I know for a fact that little green men are real. I don't care what you say. I don't care. Like, nah, dude. Nah, please leave. Just please leave. You are too obsessed on one side of the picture, and you're no good here. You can't do it.
How important? I know this is really important because somebody wrote this. Somebody wrote experience. Is that like high on your list? Because everybody has to start.
Experience, somewhere. Yes, experience. And who was your
number 3?
Who's your mentor? Like where'd you get your experience from? What person?
Mentor. That is important.
Yeah. What asshole did you have? You know, it goes back to Dr. House. You guys remember that show, Dr. House, MD, whatever? And he's sitting in the fucking room, and he's the biggest dick in the room, and no matter what everybody said, he's like, well, write it on the board. He writes it on the board and says he throws the ball against the wall. He's sitting there like with a dirty-ass shirt on, fucking smells like laundry, old laundry. I mean, he don't give a shit. And everyone's giving him answers, and he's like, is that the answer? He won't give it to him. Is that the answer? Is that what you think? Run the experiment and come back and let me know what happens. Well, you want me to? Yeah, that's what you think. Go ahead, run the experiment. You know, a good mentor is everything. And a good mentor is like a boot camp instructor. And they're not going to be nice. They're not going to be sweet. You know what? I like your idea of the green little aliens. I think we should just go for it. Go ahead, everyone. Let's just let this person have the idea of the little green aliens. Let's do it. Let's go that direction. Let's not go into the idea of other ideas or plausibilities or anything else. Let's just go into the dumb direction.
Well, this is what we have so far.
It's a bad instructor.
Number one, we have education based on what you're studying. Basically, psychology. There are some classes.
Are stupid.
Making baskets aren't gonna help you look for UFOs. So
no.
And then number 2 is the ability to be a skeptic.
Yeah.
Because we know a lot of people who claims to be ufologists and all that, and whatever guest they have on, they automatically believe them at 100%. It's like they're not a skeptic with them anymore just because they were on their show. That makes a failure of a ufologist, in my opinion. Number 3, we have experience. How much experience? How long you've been in the field? How long you've been looking?
Yeah.
Number 4, which I didn't even think of, but you said is, or someone in the chat, mentor. Having that.
Who's your mentor?
Who did you learn from? Like, you watch Indiana Jones movie. He always talks about the people that he was my mentor. He's the person.
It's all mentors. It's all mentors.
Now we don't have a number 5. So what will we say for the 5th one?
Oh, that's a good one.
Everybody in the 5th. What should be number 5? We gotta make this list to number 5.
Well, I'll say it like this. I'll say it like this. I'm gonna say it like this. I'm gonna give one. I'm gonna throw one in the mix. Now, when you go in for your if you go in for your clearance, you got clearance, your security clearance. You got security clearance. No matter what job you go into, you got to go in for security clearance, and you're gonna meet some FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation guy who does specifically. This goes back into your background stuff or whatever. Here's the most. It's really important. How much debt are you in? How much debt are you in? How much money you have? Because that can affect your decision. Because if I have a guest come on and says, "Hey man, bring me on your show. By the way, I'm gonna send you a Christmas care package and just go ahead and open it up. Just don't tell nobody about it." And you get the envelope like, "Oh my God, there's $100,000 fucking dollars in here." Now I'm coming on your show, and you're gonna give me a solid, right? Oh yeah, $100,000. Yeah, dude, I'm gonna shout you the fuck out. Fuck yeah, I'm not even going to ask you the hard questions, man. I'm going to put this in my pocket. You know, that is a question that when you get your security clearance, how much debt you're in. If you're in super debt, you won't get the job because you can be easily bought.
You know how true you are? I got to tell you guys, This is a true story, people. We all have heard of the Golden Globes Awards. Everybody's heard, they're like the second one behind the Oscars. Well, the Golden Globes Awards has 77 people. So they got in trouble because a TV show took half of them on a vacation.
Oh, yeah.
Bought them everything. And somehow on the award night, this show, I forgot the name of the show, won the award for best comedy or best something. And everybody would tell you that show shouldn't even been nominated.
Yeah.
So it shows you that you can influence people.
Money.
A lot of movies that come out will know certain movie critics, and they'll send them, like you said, they'll send them not just free tickets, free food, free this, free that, because they want to make you feel guilty for you to give them a bad rating.
Well, for example, and I have no hate. I have no beef with Elon Musk. I don't care about him. I have no beef with him. But he is what he is. He's a billionaire. He's always been a fucking rich kid his whole life. He's a billionaire. Now, he's been at a conference. He's been at things where people were asking him questions. And they had actual real engineers. Real. 100% engineers asking him questions.
Integrity. Perfect word for it all.
He had real engineers asking real engineering questions, and he had no answer because he has no fucking clue what they've even asked. He's not an engineer. He's filthy rich. Everybody in the room that claps for him are on the payroll. Okay, so if you actually have Elon Musk stand in front of a real, actual one-on-one first-year engineer student, and he would ask him questions, he would falter, and he's done it in the past, and they've always removed that footage. Because he's not a real engineer. He's a billionaire. And he pays for people to be on his side. You understand? Money can... I like money. Everyone in the sidebar likes... I wouldn't mind money. You go into a situation, though, and you have somebody that's presenting themselves as the expert, but you're getting a paycheck from that person. You're not going to ask him the hard questions. You're not going to give a shit what he says. You're thinking about vacation next week with the kids all at Disneyland. This motherfucker wrote you a check. You're going to Disneyland. That's all you're thinking about. Oh, let me ask him questions. Oh, Elon, you were in a hot tub with your brother, and you guys were talking about the multiverse. Can you give us some more of that? And everyone claps. It's not even a fucking real question. It's like, I don't give a fuck. I got freaking $100,000 to go to McDonald's tomorrow, and then I'm going to Disneyland the next day. He paid me money. So, money, that's why when you go in for specific jobs for the government, you can't have debts. You can't be in debt. No, you can be in a little bit of debt. But there's a threshold where if you go past that, you can't have the job. Because you can be bought. You can be bought. Everybody can be bought. And so the information will be shit on, stepped on, not presented, nothing, because money has a factor in it.
We've seen people in our circle that everybody starts off the right reason.
Yeah.
But then I don't know, they start getting a taste of some money, or they
get a taste
of it, and then
it tastes good. I don't blame them.
but then they become different. They become
Well, their information's not
they're not
relevant.
the same person. They're not the fun person. They become more professional because
Well, yeah. They're bought. They're bought and paid for. Now they work. And so they're working for somebody with a paycheck. And again, they become entertainment. People talk about football. I love watching football, but you know what football is? It's if you Eric, you know this. If you look at the subtitle, all the secret whatever at the bottom of the thing, football is entertainment only, which means it's the same as WWF wrestling. They don't have to. They can rig a game. It's legal. The referees are on the payroll. It's entertainment on paper. It is a contract. It says not sports. Not sports. It's sports entertainment. It has the same contract as WWF wrestling.
Yep.
That means they're just presenting you with entertainment. They don't have to follow the sports. They don't need legal competition. It's like, for example, we talked about all them the bicycle riders. Remember, Eric? We talking about they found out that they were blood doping. Remember how they were all blood doping?
Yeah, what's his name? Armstrong.
Armstrong. They were blood doping. So blood doping is, say, for example, we talked about it. You take an individual. Armstrong took his bicycle. This is what he did. He went up to South America, up into the high mountains. And he rode his bike for like almost a year, where he got the adaptation for the higher altitude, less oxygen, so his body produced. So when he got back down below, and competition starting for whatever that big contest was, his blood is completely different and loaded with high amounts of oxygen and wonderful things. So they take the blood out. When the race comes, they put his own blood back in. So he's not he's not taking illegal drugs. He's just putting his own enhanced blood back in that he'd adapted for when he was up at the thingy. He's blood doped. It's a competition, and he's cheating. He's cheating. He's enhancing his own self to win. So, I forgot where I was going with that. But so that's a real competition. That's not football. And he got busted for blood doping. Now, I imagine football entertainers, they're all on pills, shots. They can have whatever they want. Blood dope. Adderall. You can have, because it's entertainment. That means they can have whatever they want. I don't give a fuck if they say, oh, we give them all like drug tests. Bullshit. It's entertainment.
When they get caught, they only get like suspended for 3 days.
Because it's entertainment, yeah. Yeah, now Armstrong, he lost a fucking ball. He lost cancer. He got cancer from it, so he fucking hurt himself. But they were hard on him. They were hard on Armstrong. They were hard on him because that's competition. That's competition. That's a difference. Football's entertainment. They're all paid to be actors. Same thing with the UFO communities and all these other people. Once you get a taste of it, it becomes entertainment. That's all it is.
This is totally off the subject, people.
Yeah.
This is totally off the subject. I watched the Milli Vanilli documentary.
Oh God!
It was an awesome documentary, and it's funny because they got caught lip singing, and they were criticized like the worst thing. One of them actually hurt themselves where they're not living anymore. And to this day, they asked this young person, "What do you think about that?" They got in trouble for that because everybody does it now.
Everybody does it.
It's like everybody does it. It's just entertainment. Even young people
they're entertainment.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Listen. I went to the Kiss concert. I can tell you that they were using tracks because no 70-year-old people sounded that good.
Yeah.
It's accepted, and those guys got criticized.
What's the difference?
They were just giving entertainment.
Yeah, what's the difference between Taylor Swift and a guy with a ventriloquist dummy on stage? It doesn't matter. They're both entertainment.
That's it.
I mean, she can lip sing. She's not in competition. She can. I don't mind. Okay, hey, I like her. I like her dancing and doing the thing. It's a great festive whatever she's doing her stuff. She's entertainment. She can come out with a ventriloquist dummy, and I wouldn't give a fuck because she's entertainment. Football, entertainment.
One last thing, and then we'll close down the show. Now, we talked about how people can't be bought.
Oh yeah.
Now, Dogman UK, I'm just using you because you wrote this. You wrote can't buy me, and I'm not saying you can't buy him, but all I'm saying is you think everybody, because we all say you can't buy me, but you think literally everybody has a price.
You asking him that, huh? Oh, you asking me that?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Oh, everybody has a price. Everybody has a price. It depends if you just want to be an entertainer or not. Like, okay, so I'm a hardcore rigor scientist. Okay, I'm out for science. Well, guess what, man? You're gonna die alone and poor in your room, and then maybe 50 years from now, your hard work and data might be relevant. But I'll tell you what, somebody else is gonna take your data and make money off of it. Oh God, yeah. I mean, easily.
I know I'm priceless, and I'm not saying you have a price. What I'm saying is, majority of the people do have a price.
Yeah. Emily Dickinson. She wrote books. If you guys, here's an example. Emily Dickinson wrote books. She didn't write any books. Here's the truth. She didn't write any books. Emily Dickinson took notes down and doodled to herself alone because she was an introvert. That was it. When she died, they went through all her paperwork, pulled out her boxes, whipped it open, and stole all of her family, took all of her doodles and notes and everything, and turned them into books. She wrote literature for herself, but she already had money. She came from money. She was a rich girl, whatever, but she was an introvert. They made money off of her writings, but she didn't intend for her stuff to be books or anybody to read. It was for her. She wrote it for herself, and they stole her stuff. Now, she was a writer because she wrote it for herself. There was no money because she already had it. So people that took her work later on made money. I myself carried an Emily Dickinson book in the United States Navy in my back pocket. I had a pocket reader. I enjoyed Emily Dickinson. The fact that I liked to read her is because she didn't intend for anybody to read her stuff. It almost feels creepy reading about what she's writing because it wasn't intended for anybody. She was not entertainment. She became entertainment through the family. Families made it in entertainment and money and stuff. She didn't originally write it to be that. There's a difference between the two. One's for money, one's for not. One's for data and information, one is for money and fame. Which one are you on? What side are you guys on? You gotta ask yourself that. You're gonna starve if you don't ask for a fucking dime, though.
And again, at the end of the day, everybody has the right to choose who they want to follow. And but the 5 that we came up with today, again, we came up with education, ability to be a skeptic, which that is so important.
Yeah.
Experience, having a mentor, integrity, which that can be a lot, everything that you just said. Yeah. And there's always a price. Exactly.
And how much debt you have.
There is a price. I mean, it's
how much debt you have because you could change.
We personally have seen it with people, and right or wrong, it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't hate nobody for taking money. I don't because why the fuck not? Why not? I'm a cynic. I follow the philosophy of cynics, which means I'm a satirist, which means I don't give a shit. Let's just go bowling, go fishing. Let's just chill out, have a couple of beers, smoke a J, because what else you got to do? People, I'm not hating anybody for taking a fucking dime. Why would you not? There's nothing here real. Everybody's a liar. Everybody's on the fucking take. As long as you have a little bit of integrity and try to give somebody somewhat of the truth, just do the best you can, but you got to feed yourself and your families, think a little bit, be a little bit selfish. I don't mind people being a little bit selfish, and I don't blame them sometimes.
I don't know why I'm saying this.
Yeah.
The problem I have is, this is the real problem that I have. I don't get offered money.
Yeah, I don't either.
You and I, we don't get offered nothing. I watch other chats. There's nothing against anybody. I see people donating 25, 50. But
I'm gonna say this though: people do buy me beer for my shows. I've done shows where people know that. Hey, I don't ask for I got a place to stay. I ain't worried about if you want me to do a show, they throw a fucking quarter in the jukebox, and I fucking come out and just get wild and crazy, just drinking the damn beer. It's smoking weed. I'm like, all right. All right.
Put it down. Because I always say that you need. I say it's better to earn people's trust and earn when like Ron will always tell me, you don't want to go out and ask, but when somebody does do something because they enjoy your stuff, you're happy about it. It makes you feel because you're not asking. They did it on their own, and like if somebody buys you a beer, it's like the most awesome thing in the world, you know.
Yeah. You know, and
he tried to buy me a beer. He just bought me a beer.
I don't
and
care.
He didn't even asking me to go to bed with him.
Like I said, I recommend people buy Connor's books. They're fun. They're fun. They're fun reads. He makes a little money on it. Yeah, Ron has
Connor's
cool
book
ass.
is awesome.
He's got some cool ass picture thingies on his cups and all kinds of fun. It's fun. I don't care if Danny Staten came out with a comic book. I'd buy it. I don't mind buying it from him.
I would buy a comic book that Danny Stanton.
I would buy a comic book from Danny Staten.
I'll tell you why. What you said in our top 5, education. The man is educated in every comic book there is.
He knows his comic. I would buy a comic book for him.
He has so much knowledge of different stories that he can put together. I would buy one in a heartbeat.
I want to do a show with Ron, and I'm not Ron. Danny Staten. No offense, Ron. Ron, come on. Danny Staten. I want the actual history of Howard the Duck, from the beginning to the end. Was he Eric? Was Howard the Duck originally a DC? What was he?
I always thought of him as Marvel from the beginning.
He's Marvel, right? And I was talking to a girl. I was buying beer, and I was wearing my Howard the Duck T-shirt, and she goes, "No, he was originally a DC." I said, "No, I don't know. He's not DC. He was always Marvel." She goes, "No, he started off DC." And I said, "Did he? What's his? We need to go in depth with Howard the Duck."
Yeah. Danny would know a lot of it.
He would know all the history about the Howard the Duck.
Crossover, you know, like for example, Shazam original name was Marvel.
Yeah.
And then they put Miss Marvel, so then the Marvel name went to Marvel Company.
Yeah.
So Shazam was Marvel. He was Captain Marvel.
I've actually wrote 50 books. Okay, well, let's see a book. Then put them out for sale. Let's take a look. Okay, yeah, let's see what you got.
See one of his books. We got to do a show. So, Danny, do you have those books with you where we can do a show on your books? I'd be interested to find out what those are. That's awesome. Later.
Yeah. The problem with Danny, he's a good guy, but you got to put on your boots when you talk to him. You guys know what I'm talking about. Fuck you, man. Come on, man. You got to put on your boot. I got to put on some boots sometimes when I talk to you, man. But everybody's that way. Everybody. I mean, I love a good story. I like people that have emotions and good stories. Yeah. I love good stories.
Danny doesn't fuck around.
He don't fuck around.
What he feels. There's no filter. You know, there's no guessing.
You might have to wear your boots when you hear his stories, but I love it, man. I enjoy putting on my boots for a good story. If people that know what I'm talking about, he's like, fuck off, man.
So, beyond that, I hope everybody enjoyed today. It is kind of cool. We came up with the 5 things that we hope that people have. You know, one of the things. That doesn't mean you have to pick those 5 things on an individual person you guys watch or listen to. But the 5 that we came up with today are very... You know, you will hope people have at least 4 out of those 5.
Yeah.
3 out of those 5.
Yeah.
Or, you know, we hope they have all 5.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So again, are you doing the show tonight or tomorrow night?
Oh, I'm doing one tonight. What did it say, Monday? Yeah, I'll do one tonight. Yeah, I'm doing one tonight. I feel like getting high and drinking some beer. I'm a cynic, so... That's my philosophy.
Appreciate that, Dana. I hope everybody hits that thumbs up and leave me a comment, people. I don't get for whatever reason, I don't really get comments from people. So leave me a comment. You know, leave me a comment.
Yeah.
What's your top 5? What you think the 5 should be? It doesn't have to be what we put together for us.
Yeah.
And no, you want.
And don't send Eric any dick pics, man. He's getting so many of those. He's getting pissed, man. I get the whole dick pic thing. It's funny. I get it. Eric, I mean, how many dick pics you get this week, man? It's getting crazy. But they're funny.
I know. It's like, you know, can you guys send me some women pictures, please?
Yeah. What's up with the dick pics, man?
We'll see you guys all later. We'll see you all next time on the Paranormal Highway.
As we started asking questions, legitimate questions, the pushback we got is what interests me. Every time we pulled a thread, and we stumbled on something, it seemed that we would get stonewalled. And so, NASA has stated that the term UAP does not necessarily imply extraterrestrial origin, which means we could be making these things domestic. And so, look, if these are advanced technologies, we're not interested in hurting national security, but we are interested in knowing what these UAPs are.